Hello, my name is HKH191. In today's video, I'll be covering a tutorial on how to use my new mission Heist Creator. So let's jump straight in and start learning how to use the mod. To start off with, once you got the mod installed correctly, you should be able to press F7 on your keyboard to open the menu. Once you have pressed F7 on your keyboard, you should see this menu pop up and you'll be in a free camera. If you're wanting to create or edit a mission, you should first start off by opening the Create or Edit Mission menu. For creating a new mission, you'll want to click on the first item in the menu, titled New Untitled Mission. This submenu serves as a blank mission where you can start creating your own missions. However, if you're wanting to edit an already existing mission, all missions you have installed will be listed under the New Untitled Mission submenu. Let's start off by creating a new mission. When you start creating your mission, the first thing you want to do is create your mission's map. This is a grouping of entities that the mission uses. The mission Heist Creator spawns all entities used in your mission when the mission starts. However, you can use secondary events to set whether certain entities should appear in the current objective. With the mission Heist Creator, there are two ways of spawning entities for your mission. For convenience sake, the mission Heist Creator allows you to load an already created Menyoo Map into your mission. If you're wanting to use a Menyoo Map in your mission, importing the Menyoo Map is something you'll want to do first, as the mission Heist Creator uses unique IDs for all entities, and every time you import a map, the IDs will change. To start off with, go into Add and Remove Mission Entities, create Menyoo Map, /spawn entities, and import Menyoo Map. Choose a Menyoo Map from the drop down and select Import. Importing may take a minute depending on the size of your Menyoo Map. Be aware that when you import a Menyoo Map, only PEDs, vehicles and props will be imported. Things like blips and markers you can add later through secondary events. Once you've done importing a Menyoo Map or are editing a mission and you want to add a new entity to the map, the mission Heist Creator has its own spawner built into it. For convenience, both PEDs, vehicles and objects have been sorted into categories. This includes Heist scriptable objects that are used in mission objectives, as well as objects that fall under the same categories, such as racetrack pieces, cargo crates, as well as many more. However, you can also spawn groups of props, for example the Kyrico cabinet, with a pink diamond, ruby necklace or panther statue. Once you have created a map, you can easily edit entities in your map. To edit an entity, you look at it with a camera until its name pops up on the screen. Then you should be able to delete it, edit its data, or go straight into objectives. Editing its data allows you to change its position and rotation. You can use both world space and the entity's own offset to change its position. If you need to look through all entities used in your mission, the mod also comes with an entity database that can be found under Add and Remove Mission Entities. This lists all entities in your map. Scrolling through the list, you'll be able to see a green arrow above the entity you've currently selected. From this menu, you can also access the entity data menu for the currently selected entity. Let's jump straight in and start adding objectives into our mission. Go back into the primary mission menu and select Add Edit Mission Objectives. This menu will allow you to edit mission objectives. Let's now add some mission objectives and save the mission and then play test it. Once you have at least one mission objective, you can now save your mission. To save a mission, go back to the mission's main menu, give your mission a unique name, and set start location if you want your mission to have a starting location. When you're ready to save your mission, click on Finish and create new mission. Once you end up saving a mission, the original new untitled mission will revert back to default. If you want to make changes to your previously saved mission, it'll now be listed in Create and Edit Missions menu, under the name you called it. If you're happy with how your mission turns out, you can always go and test play it. If you go back to the Create and Edit Mission menu and find your created mission and open its menu, you can scroll down to play test mission.
Report a 996 near Galileo Park is your report.
At any point, if you're wanting to make changes to an already pre-created mission, you can click on the Finish and Update mission button to save over the changes you've already made. At any point, if you're not happy with the order of objectives in your mission, you can reorder objectives. To do this, go into Add and Edit Mission Objectives and select any objective. Then choose Reorder Mission Objectives. To start a reorder, click on the mission objective you want to reorder. Then click on another objective you want to place the objective you want to reorder in its place. You can now go back and test play the mission. Once you've created an objective, you can then go into further detail by adding secondary events, optional objectives, conditional events, and task sequences. So let's start off with secondary events. A secondary event is a way to add further detail to your mission. This can be like adding a wanted level, setting an entity in or not in the mission during the current objective, displaying notifications, modifying the objective blip, drawing markers, setting the weather, and many other things. To add a secondary event, open the objective you want to add the secondary event to, and select secondary events, and add secondary event. In this menu, secondary events have been categorized for convenience. When you have found a secondary event you want to add, you will be presented with a few options. The first is the runtime on when the event runs. Secondary events have different runtimes. An objective has 3 runtimes: start of the objective, during the objective, and end of the objective. So secondary events have very specific runtimes. Most will allow to be run during start and end the objective. However, there are some that need to be run during the objective. Another option you will have is to repeat objective. By default, this is none. This allows you to add a duplicate of the secondary event during runtime to either all objectives, matching objectives, previous objectives, subsequent objectives. Most secondary events will also give multiple options, as well as needing you to select a target entity or group of entities, or needing you to enter specific data. For example, with display notification, you need to enter a message. Let's go back and playtest the mission now to see what the secondary events do.
Reporting an explosion close to, Galileo Park Observatory.
Once you've created an objective, you can then add optional objectives to that objective. Completing the objective or the optional objective will complete the main objective. However, you can only select up to 4 optional objectives. If you want to add an optional objective, select the objective you want to have an optional objective in. And select optional objectives, add optional objective. Then you can choose another objective as an optional objective. Let's go back again and play test the mission and see how it works. As you can see now, I can either pull the switch or cut the lock. And if we go now to cut the lock with bolt cutters, it'll complete the main objective. By default, to finish a mission, you need to run through all mission objectives in order. However, this can be changed. You have a few options to change this. First off, in the mission category of secondary events, you have both skip to random event and skip to event on event completion. Adding either of these will allow you to create a mission where the events can run out of order. Let's go play test the mission now and see how it skips over the go to position objective. As you can see, it's completely skipped over the go to position objective, and skip to the enter the shafter objective. Now that we've covered secondary events, let's cover conditional events. A conditional event is a secondary event that checks to see if a task or action has been completed. Conditional events allow for you to create fail conditions easily, checking if the player or target entity has died, checking if player has entered or exited his vehicle, or gotten or lost cops, and many more things. If you want to add a conditional event, select the mission objective you want to add a conditional event to. Go into Add and Edit Mission Objectives. Select the event you want to add it to, secondary events, add secondary events into objective conditionals. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to be using player taking damage. Once you've chosen the conditional event you want to add, you have a few options to choose from. A conditional event's runtime will always be during the objective. You will then need to choose what happens when the conditional is triggered. You can choose to have it call a secondary event, restart the mission, kill the player, fail the mission, or pass the mission. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to be calling another secondary event. Once you're ready to add the conditional, you can click on Add Secondary Event to Mission Objective. If you did select calling another secondary event from the conditional, you can add a secondary event to that conditional by going back into Edit Remove Secondary Event and into the conditionals submenu and click on Add Conditional Event. For the purposes, I'm going to be adding cash to the player. You can now go ahead and test the conditional by playtesting your mission. As you can see, when the player took damage, I got 5,000 in cash. So the conditional did indeed work. The next thing in the mission Heist Creator to cover is AI task sequences. An AI task sequence allows you to set a ped to complete a set sequence of tasks, either once or in a loop. This can be used to make a ped patrol around using a given route. You can combine AI task sequences with smart peds. which allows you to create a PED patrolling in a loop while also attacking the player if the PED spots the player in the PED's field of vision. To add a task sequence, open the objective you want to add the task sequence to. By choosing secondary events, add secondary event, add AI task sequence. The first thing you'll want to do is select the PED that will play the task sequence. Once you've done that, you can scroll down and choose Add New Task Sequence. In this menu, you'll have a list of tasks that can be used in task sequences. There are also a few tasks grouped together such as tasks relating to PEDs using planes, helicopters and boats. However, for this video, I'm just going to be making the PED walk around in a given loop. Like secondary events, some tasks will need you to select additional data for the task, such as coordinates, vehicles or duration. For example, with task follow nav mesh to chord, you'll need to select the destination and a duration. Once you are happy with the task sequence, you can back out of the task sequence menu and save and update your map and test play it if you want. I'm going to test play it right now to show you what it looks like. As we can see, the AI with the task sequence is walking around in a given loop. So, as discussed before, objectives by default run in sequence. This, however, can be changed even further by grouping events together. This allows you to create a mission with repeating groups of tasks that can be randomized or run out of sequence. To group an objective, select the first objective in the mission and go into secondary events, add secondary event, mission events and select create event group. You can then select add event to event group to select the events you want to group together. For the purpose of this, I'm going to be creating three event groups with open container small and loot specific valuable. Once you've added at least 2 groups, you can then choose to either add skip to random event group or skip to event group. These can be used to skip to a completely new event group so that your mission runs out of order or randomly. Once you have added a group, you can go back to the mission's primary menu and select Add Edit Objective Groups. This menu will list all groups and their objectives inside. So I'll be creating an example of a randomized group of objectives. In the example map I've been using, there are 3 containers. Using grouped objectives, we can create an objective that tasks the player to randomly open each container and steal the loot inside. To do this, we first want to create 6 new objectives that I've already done. These will be 3 open container objectives and 3 loot specific valuable objectives. Once you have added the objectives you want to group together, we can go back and add create event group secondary event like I've already done to the first objective. Once you've done that, we can add a skip random event group event to each of the loot specific value objectives, or the final objective in each group. For this, it's loot specific variable. We're going to add secondary events into mission events and go and add skip to random event group. Make sure to do it to all your groups and the final objective. As well, you'll need to do this for the first objective before you start the groups. So for me, this is the first objective that I have. Once you've done that, you can go back and save and play test your mission to see how it works. As you can see, it selects a random container first for us to open. As you saw in the objectives menu, the far right container was the first objective. However, it selected the left container for us to loot first. Now that you know all that, you can easily use the mod to a good degree. However, if you want to learn a little more, I'm now going to be showing how you can easily make your own heist within the mod. Now, I'll be remaking one of my heists from the single player heist mod. This heist will be made available for you to look at and play with the full release of the mod. I'll be remaking the Diamond Jewel Store heist from single player heists, and I'll also be uploading a non-commentary playthrough of the heist as well. So for the Diamond Jewel Store heist in single player heist, it took place in this alley. So when I was making the heist, I did save it as a Menyoo Map so it could be used later on. So I'm going to go and create a new mission and we'll import the map into this mission. So as we can see with the map, all the jewelry cabinets are empty because in single player heists, they're filled randomly as the jewel cabinets have 4 different variations. However, with this, I'm going to be populating them randomly using the Jewelry Cabinet Creator, which allows you to select a jewelry cabinet and add its jewels straight onto it and add them to the map. So once we've done that, we can start by adding the objectives now. So I'm going to be doing the objectives and then I'm going to be covering the secondary objectives as well. So the first objective I want the player to do is actually go straight up to the door. So that's pretty easy. If we just add an objective to go to position, you can select the target destination at the front of the door and just give it a subtitle. So the second objective in the mission I want to add is I want the player to destroy these cameras. So you can use the destroy object group or the damage object group. I'm going to use the damage object group objective just because of the fact with objects they have over 1,000 health, and so it can be a bit tedious trying to destroy an object completely until its health is 0. So the damage object group only checks to see if a object has been damaged by about 25 health. So I'm going to add that. So all we have to do is aim at the cameras and just hit enter when you're selecting add and remove target the list. So one thing that I'm going to be doing differently with this heist from single player heists is I'm going to be adding an alarm, but I don't want the alarm to be playing all the time because that'd be really annoying. So I'm actually going to have a lever right here that you can actually flick as one of your objectives to turn off the alarm as soon as you destroy the cameras. To do this, I'm going to go into create mission map, into the entity spawner, into objects, into the scriptable objects, and I'm going to be going into pullable switches. As you can see, there's a little text saying that the pullable switch is at the wrong height for animation. Quite a few of the objects for the mod have this implemented so that you can correctly place an object at the correct height for animation. So I'm going to place it there as well, and while I'm at it, I'm also going to add a higher jewel cabinet in here. So I'm going to add the pink diamond. While I'm at it, I also noted this this diamond trolley is facing the wrong direction. So I'm actually going to go and edit its data and rotate it around completely. There we go. So while I'm at it, I'm also going to name the mission and save it. So I'm going to give it a start marker over here as well. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to give it the jewel blip. You can also find the jewel blips at docs.5m.net/docs/game references/blip/. However, I know the jewel cabinet is ID 617. And we get it kind of a pinky colour. That'll do. And I'm also going to show the name in the blip. I'm going to finish and create the mission. However, I'm going to go back and keep editing objectives. So as discussed before, we want the player to pull a switch to stop the alarm. Now that we've got the switch in, we can actually go in. So now, if you've saved the mission, make sure to actually go back out and go into your previously saved mission. So I'm going to add an objective to pull the switch. So once we've done that, I'm going to add an objective to hack the keypad. So you can either, for these keypads, you can use the hack keypad target objective, or if you're using the Hyperico keypads, you can choose to hack the fingerprint target. For these, I'm going to be using the hack keypad target. You can also choose the minigame you want to play. I'm going to be choosing the Fleece Snake minigame because it's been updated massively for the mod. So now I want to add an objective to wait until the vault opens. So I'm going to add the await object rotate to angle finish objective next. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to add a loot valuables objective so that you have to loot both the diamond trolley and the cabinet. So the loot valuables objective requires you to loot all objectives that you select. However, as well, I want the player to loot the cabinets. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to select the loot until pay is greater than. This requires you to loot all the cabinets either until your heist take is greater than the needed amount, or you have robbed all lootable objects available. However, right now I have forgotten that there is a loot cabinet missing. One sec. Just check the rest. Also gonna stop that rain. So now I'm going to add in a loot until pay is greater than. And I'm going to select the needed amount to be 970,000. And I'm going to add all 23 of the cabinets. Sorry, 24 cabinets. So for the final objective, I'm just going to have the player escape the box. So once we've done all the objectives, we can start adding secondary objectives to make the mission more complete. So I'm going to go back to the first objective and go from there. So the first thing we're going to need to do is make sure that those doors work. So to do that, you're going to go into the first objective, add secondary events, and in object events to unlock door. And you're going to do it to both. As well, for most of the heists, I'm going to force no wanted level. So you can do that from inside player events. As well, when this heist starts, I'm going to display the mission name down below. So you can find that in UI. So once we've done that, the second objective is we're tasking the player to destroy the cameras. So as mentioned, I'm going to actually add an alarm so that when the player goes to the second objective, an alarm starts sounding. To do that, go into secondary events, add secondary events into audio, and add start alarm. I'm going to choose the Fleecer alarm just because of the fact that it's probably the best one in this kind of context. And then also you're going to need add alarm positions. And I'm just going to add them at the camera's positions. And you can actually select multiple alarm positions. I'm going to select the 3 cameras, plus I'm going to put an invisible location inside the vault. So again as well, I'm going to add a secondary event to force no wanted level. Now that we've done that, we're tasking the player to pull the switch to disable the alarm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the pull the switch objective into secondary events, add secondary events, and into audio, and choose stop alarm. So one thing I actually want to do is I want to have the blip sizes for the cameras actually be a bit smaller than normal, and also add the guards to smart AI so they actually attack the player. So you can actually go back into the damage object group, and I'm going to add that. So again, I'm going to make sure that the player can't get a wanted level until the actual vault is being opened and the cops come. So I'm going to add a force no wanted level to basically all objectives. So the next thing we want to task the player to do is hack the keypad target. Again, just for this one, I'm just going to add the force no wanted level, and that should be fine. So for the next one, we're awaiting the vault to open, and for this objective we actually do need to add the rotate object to angle secondary event, which can be found in objects. So we're going to select the vault door as the prop, and then we're going to choose the angle. Once you're happy with the angle, you can choose to add secondary event to mission objective. So with that objective done, we can go in and looting the valuables inside the vault. So for this, I want the cops to start coming to the store, but I don't want to have them come straight away. So I'm going to add the objective set time until cops, which will give us a wanted level after a certain period of time. So we can find that in player. And so I'm going to choose a wanted level of 4, and the cops arrive in 160 seconds. And I'm also going to add show time until cops. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to add a conditional event so that when the player takes damage, we'll lose a certain percentage of the money we've already earned from the heist. To do this, we can go up to objective conditionals and add player take damage and call secondary event. And we want this to repeat for all subsequent objectives. To add a deduct money percentage from heist take, we can find that in player events. And I'm going to choose 10%. The repeat should be fine as none, so you don't need to set a repeat when the conditional is already repeating. Again, I'm going to add a force no wanted level again for this as well. Once we've done that, we want to modify the loot until pay is greater than. So we want to set the blip size for both the lootables in the vault and out here. So what we have to do is go into secondary events, add secondary event into blip options, and set objective blip size. And I'm going to set it about 0.75, and I'm going to do that for both objectives. So again, we're going to have to actually show how long the player's got before the cops arrives. So you're going to have to go into player events and show time until cops. You don't need to actually call the set time until cops again, because it carries over through objectives. With that being said, that's basically how the heist will work. So the final objective is escape cops. However, I'm gonna be changing that. I'm gonna be removing that and adding a leave area event. That'll mean that even if the player doesn't get cops before the time runs out, you still have to move away from the store. And I'm going to be setting that to 100. So once we've done that, I'm actually going to add another secondary event, another objective, sorry, that tasks us to escape the cops. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add an optional objective in the leave area objective that tasks the player to get cops. Sorry. And I'm actually going to set the subtitle as none. Because what I want to happen is the player will either leave the area and the mission will complete, or the player will get cops and then it will move to escape cops. In escape cops, I'm still going to add in this show heist take, secondary event. And with that, the mission is basically done.
Hands where I can see him!
Oh God! Please don't! Don't shoot! Oh Lord! Ah! Don't shoot me! Oh, Jesus!
Dios mío, ¿qué pasa?
You really don't need to shoot me. Please!